Frank, it hit the green, but just didn't have enough backspin.
You wonder what he's thinking on that.
Just in the first cut of rough, not a bad lie. The only issue is he might get a jumper here. Shot right there from that line in the rough to knock it that close. That's good. Really not much to this. The only issue would be a lack of concentration or focus. One under early in the round. Par 5 second hole, 540 yards. Birdie opportunity, Frank?
Birdie or eagle, but that second shot all the way across water. So you're going to have to hit a good tee shot to go for this par 5 and 2.
That's a good spot right there.
Center cut.
Up with the big boys now, Frank.
Well, we saw that previous tee shot go 310. This one's further.
Second shot. Good look at the green. Vijay Singh, Charlie Hoffman, and Big Henrik Stenson, they all have one thing in common. They all tied for the low tournament score at TPC Boston, 22 under.
And they're all good. Yeah, this is a golf course that obviously gives in to the longer hitters. And if there's just a little bit of sting taken out of the greens, then these long hitters have a huge advantage. Has it?
Maybe wet. So toweled off, dried off, and ready to go.
Yeah, let's hope this swing he hasn't still got the floaties on.
So this is his fourth shot after the last one found the water.
Yeah, it's not all over, but right now, too, he's staring down the barrel of a very bad hole.
Frank, this is one you don't practice, but sometimes you have to do it. Time for the drop.
Yeah, it should be the easiest shot in golf. You've just paid for it.
Frank, they threw him a life vest. He's back on dry land.
And I hope this time he swings, he doesn't have the water wings on.
Frank, this is his sixth shot here.
Well, this is the difference between the good players and the great players. Really, just that compounding of a mistake, one after the other.
Frank, the beauty of golf, we're not playing inside a dome with no wind. You have to be able to handle the elements.
You do, and that's really where the better player comes through. On a day like today, anything around par is going to be a good score, so just adjust your own mental par.
Frank, how did he do there?
Well, he's inside 30 feet, but 27 feet, it's not exactly what you'd call close.
That's as bad as I have seen. Folks, that one is now on the fringe. Oh my goodness, he just made that. I cannot believe it.
I was thinking he might get it close, and just a great shot.
Frank, you've talked about this sort of New England feel they gave this golf course when they remodeled it. This is a pretty good example here at the third hole.
Yeah, that stone wall behind just sort of makes the golf course look like it's been there forever. They have tweaked the green a little bit on that left side, created a little bit of a ridge. You can sort of play the ball off that if you know where you're going.
Another good swing, and it looks like, Frank, another really good shot.
It was almost like that's what he wanted to do, but why would you want it to run over the back?
Frank, just into that first cut.
Yeah, it's sitting up. Really, this isn't too bad a situation.
Coming out of the rough and right up next to the hole. Not a gimme, but well within his range. Oh, I thought he had that. Oh boy, a drop shot here at the third. So a tester from 4 feet. So with that, 3 over par now for the round. Frank, at 298 yards, the fourth is reachable for just about every professional. What might scare them off?
Well, that bunker on the left, that's really actually a chance to showcase your skills. And that's where you realize how much better professional golfers are. A good bunker play, especially on a hole like 4, and then you will get well rewarded.
This is a great place for a fan to watch, isn't it?
It is. You see so many different short shots around this green. The bunker shots from the left side, if you hit it over the back on the right, the little bump and run through the little valley in the green. Fun hole to watch.
Perfectly placed tee shot will set up an eagle opportunity, but then you see quite a few bogeys made here as well.
Yeah, if you stray a little bit, leave the ball too far short, then you have to play that pitch across the bunker. That's no fun.
Be a little disappointed with that because it lands in the rough and it appears to be fairly thick over there. Frank, out of the rough, best to swing a little bit easier or get after it with all you have.
Well, a little bit in between. Obviously, it's going to require a little bit of strength to make sure that club keeps going through, but it's still the planning of the shot. Once again, check short. Is there anything I have to carry? And even remember, there's always the option of just simply pitching the ball down the fairway and taking your medicine.
That's well played. Places it about 10 feet out for birdie. So with that putt, 2 over par now. Now on to the 5th, and Frank, a pretty challenging par 4.
Yeah, gentle dogleg to the left. There's a short bunker on the right. That's not really in play. You can just see that one on the left. Ideally, just want to hit something around 330 yards to this very difficult green.
Frank, there's fairway, there's rough, and then there's mulch.
Yeah, the worst thing about the mulch.
Frank, this is always such a difficult spot for a golfer. You just hit one out of bounds, you're trying to regroup.
He's going to need to more than regroup now.
So now he's playing his 3rd shot, Frank, after hitting it OB.
A good tee shot, though. So see if he can string a couple of good shots together now.
Into the tall cabbage. That ball is swallowed up. Frank, this is where the mental game really comes into play. You've hit a 2nd consecutive shot into the rough.
This could pound very, very quickly. So now's a chance to just take a little breath, take a breather, and try to make sure this shot certainly gets out.
It is a windy day out here, Frank. My hat just blew off. This is going to affect the players' shots, that's for sure. That's a disappointment right there, Frank.
Yeah, green light special, really. Come up considerably short.
Chance to get it close here. Frank, what's so compelling about rivalries in sports is that athletes need each other if they're going to go to great heights. Joe Frazier needed Muhammad Ali to solidify his legend. Jack Nicklaus probably needed Arnold Palmer to go to a place that he had not been. And I think that's true across the board as we look at rivalries in sports.
I think it defines careers, Rich. It's not until those players retire that they realized how important it was to have that foe. You know, so often we're living in the present like we are now with Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy. And it's not for years to come that we'll realize the sport wouldn't have been the same with one without the other.
Boy, that was a good-looking putt, just not falling right now.
Sadly, he's going to be disappointed.
Well, double par here, time to pick up and move on. 6th hole here at TPC Boston, always a fan favorite. What do people like about it, Frank?
Well, it's like a goal kicker hole. There's these 2 big pine trees, and especially when you turn off that back tee. Hit it through that chute, avoid the 2 bunkers on the right, you're in prime position.
They'll pay a little bit of a price for missing the fairway here because from that rough, you cannot control the spin on the golf ball. Ends up in the first cut, and he'll have a pretty good look at the hole location from here. Appears to be what they call a commercial play. Very solid. So from the rough back to the fairway, that's the right way to go.
Yeah, didn't take the bait. And at least now he's only going to play the price of a poor tee shot. Still got a good chance, though, getting away with par.
And getting ready for the putt. Nothing wrong with that par putt. This is a pretty sizable par 5 here, Frank, the 7th.
But it's reachable. There's some mounds down there. If you keep it down the right side, hopefully that tee shot can kick it a little forward. And then that green angled at about 45 degrees, very reachable. Whoop, this is taken off on a weird line.
And it's going to be in the rough, it looks like. In the thick stuff.
Thick, it's brittle out there.
Just trying to make clean contact from the rough. Oh, no, look out, Frank. I think he flushed that one.
Oh, this is going, gone. Oh, that's off the beaten track. That's got 5 minutes to find it.
All right, now another shot from the rough.
Yeah, this time better be better than the one we just saw.
Playing a par 5, Frank, what happened on that third shot?
Yeah, it's a poor decision. But, hopefully he can eradicate that from the memory banks and really knuckle down on this. Do not want to drop a shot or make 6 here.
No way! He holed it, Frank.
Great pitch shot.
Coming off the long par 5-7, now a par 3, 213 yards. What's the 8th hole all about?
Another hole that picks with the same theme. Really want to fly this nice and high. That narrow part at the front of the green really is to be avoided unless the flag is there. There's a big green, and they're going to use every inch of it.
That one was running so hot. Settling in now after that tough start. Well, this is how you build a good round, Frank. You just keep hitting greens. You don't want to let this one get away. This is about winning. Never a bad score on the card. That's par. Real golfers, by the way, do not eat tuna sandwiches at the turn. Eat a hot dog, right?
Well, yeah, but if you make a mess of 9, then you're making hamburgers. this is not heading in the right direction.
It looks like it's going to be in the rough.
Errant tee shot here, Rich, but going to have to muscle this one out of the rough.
Second shot coming out of the rough here.
I mean, this skill, and that was sublime.
Just good hands coming out of the rough, able to manage the distance, and now in great position. Shouldn't be a problem here. Wow, I thought he made that. Oh, man.
Just
could use this one. This is for par. This would be a good time to reverse the slide. 5 over par on the day. He struggled on the front, but a chance to regroup here on the inward half, Frank.
Well, if you look at around the golf and you made a couple of double bogeys on the first or you made a couple of double bogeys on the end, it would still add up. Now, let's hope that the back 9 is all gravy. Oh, I like that. There's always advantage of hitting it further than most, Rich, and straighter than most. When you put the two together, it's just straight up a head start.
Chance to set himself up for a good scoring opportunity with his second shot here. Wind's still a challenge out there, and they've thrown him off all day long. Let's see if he can find some comfort level here before the end of the round. And so the approach shot finishes up some 25 feet from the hole.
Yeah, not his best, but certainly not his worst.
Standing over this putt, concentrating on the read. You couldn't ask for much more than that, except to make it. That is a solid par putt right there. Moving on to the 11th here, Frank, and this par 3 has to be the toughest here at TPC Boston. 231 yards. How do you handle this one?
Well, it plays a little uphill, so this hole really does suit the high ball flyers. There's a big ridge in the middle of the green, so when that flag's on the back, you've got to hit your best shot.
And he's made the green.
Still snack though.
Nice putt, counting. Moving on now to the 12th, and Frank, describe this hole for us.
Sneaky good par 4. It's long enough, you know, sort of that 450, 460 mark. Bends a little to the left. Really, you want to be in the middle of the fairway here because that second shot with the green just tilting towards the hazard. One of the toughest second shots you have on the golf course.
They'll be pretty happy with that 290-yard poke off the tee. Frank, this is a position where a player is absolutely licking his chops here. Good chance to make a birdie.
Yeah, this is when this game just looks like fun. Bunkers don't seem to be in play. The only thing you're really looking at right now is just the flag.
Well, that's how you play the game right there. You knock it on the green and give yourself a good look at birdie. Just needs to keep it steady here over the putt. And at last, he has made a birdie.
And what can you do from here, though? Is that the start of something? It looks like it is.
Frank, par 4 13. Just swing away with that big stick with the driver.
Big advantage if you've got another 10 or 15 yards left in the bag here. If you can carry that left side, you certainly shorten this hole up.
This could be really good, Frank.
Oh, straight at it.
That is tasty looking right there, Frank. Just a perfect spot in the fairway.
That is prime real estate. How do you get a lie like that? Seriously, you could hit any club from there.
And he's set up for his second shot here, looking to knock it on the green. Seems to like it. Looks like it's headed for the green. Birdie try up next. Frank, the beauty of golf, you never know when you're going to find that spark and begin to turn it around.
Yeah, well, that's why you can't just quit in the middle of a round. You've got to believe that something good is just around the corner, and this just might be it. You want to know the difference between good scores and average scores? That.
Right there. Nothing wrong with that par putt. Frank, at the 14th down, anytime you get a par 4 that is almost 500 yards, it gets your attention.
It does play downhill, though, so you don't have to smash away here. It's better if you can get something moving a little right to left. Then it will take the natural slope. You get a little more yardage out of it that way.
Second shot coming up here at the par 5. It looks like he came over just a little bit.
Yeah, that one wasn't pretty, but it's still gonna get away with it.
Not quite where he wanted it, but it is on the green, and that's not too bad. Frank, I'm not saying he should pull out driver here, but this is a long putt.
Greens are fast, though. You never know. Good line, good pace. Might have a chance.
That was not a very good read right there. And getting ready for the putt. Beginning the long climb back, now to 3 over par. Frank, after a couple of par 4s where you just sort of let it go with the driver, different strategy here at the 15th?
Yeah, you don't want to get carried away here. This is one where just a nice smooth swing, get that ball on the fairway. And that second shot, you've got to carry that false front.
Excellent looking shot here. Paying attention like a little kid at school, Frank. That baby's sitting up.
Sitting up. It's got the best view as well. You don't even need binoculars from where that ball is.
Frank, really good chance from this position to make a birdie.
Yeah, really the only thing he's looking at right now is the flag. This is a green light special.
Moving a little to the right of the flagstick. Good, clean contact, a nice result, and a chance for birdie coming up.
It's at sneaky distance.
From hard times to good times, back-to-back birdies. Frank, here at the 16th, you really see this sort of New England character, don't you?
Yeah, that stone wall now protects that sort of two-tiered green. And it sort of showcases the golf course. It just fits in beautifully with what Hans and Faxon have done to the golf course. Good-looking shot right here.
See if he can get this one to drop here at the 16th for a birdie. And it's a long way to the hole from here. Never easy. Could it be?
Normally you'd be happy to take two from there. What's one going to feel like? Great putt.
Frank, the 17th here at TPC Boston underwent quite a radical change.
Yeah, that renovation and that redesign that they did, it changed the character of the hole, but they still kept that big mound in the middle of the green. So that second shot is still punishing if you misjudge it.
And players nursing a lead, they might want to think about playing it safe down the right side, but if you're trying to make up some ground, you could try to fly the church pews that divide the fairway into two sections, and that would give you a nice short wedge in.
Yeah, give you a short wedge in, but really the risk, is it worth it?
Offline, and I think that one's headed for the rough. And he pays a price for that.
Yeah, when you don't see the top of the ball in the rough, you know it's not sitting pretty. You need a bit of force to extract one out of there.
And the second shot from 110 yards. No problems there. Really good approach shot. Now, good looking birdie.
Starting to get a little bit of a roll and looking at another one.
Really playing well. Let's see if he can add another birdie. Came to the putt, excited to make birdie. Now, settle for par.
Yeah, little change in the attitude right now. When you've let one go, you've got to really knuckle down there and make sure you don't drop a shot. It's important that this one goes in.
One over for the day. Frank, the 18th here at TPC Boston has generated a lot of buzz through the years, hasn't it?
It has, and those changes have just made this finishing hole so much better. The fact that they've narrowed up the front of the green, they've made that left side more severe. Now you can't bail out on the left. If you do, it's an awful little pitch or even a putt up the hill.
The addition of that putt bunker, Frank, how has that changed the hole?
Well, if you stray off the tee or find one of those bunkers with your tee shot, you really have to be aware of exactly the distance that little pot bunker is away. Because if you just sort of whack it out of the bunker and lay it up there, and you find the next bunker, then you're in trouble.
Just in the first cut of rough, not a bad lie. The only issue is he might get a jumper here. Appears to be tracking well. That shot right there from that lie in the rough to knock it that close, that's good. You don't want to let this one get away. This is about concentration and focus at this point. So a good performance today, 71. Frank, the great thing about TPC Boston, it generates fireworks. It's that kind of court. This is EA Sports PGA Tour coverage coming up next. Take a look at this site. Is it for real? Frank, I've never seen anything quite like this as we get set to call it for EA Sports. Rich Lerner behind the microphone, and we welcome you to this par 73 course that offers, well, this is an understatement, elevated tees and crossing canyon tee shots. Frank, what's the player need to look out for?
Well, you've got to look out for the other added value of shot making here. There's the odd shot where you can actually bounce off the rock faces. So if you can't find the normal way from A to B, just look left or right or even above, and you just might find another way to get to Nirvana. Winding this one up. Does he have the power? Just smokes it. Whoop, this is taken off on a weird line.
And it's going to be in the rough, it looks like. That one is just a little offline, and that will not end up in the fairway. See if he can clip this one perfectly, drive it in there from about 120 yards.
This looks like it's going to find the target.
On the green, and a chance for birdie here on the first hole. Been pretty good all day from this distance, just trying to take care of business. Very well done. Almost made it.
Yeah, there'll be no stress for the next one.
Just a couple of feet. And so just getting started. Even par so far. Frank, this requires one good, solid shot.
Your driver might be too much. Given this altitude, so just have to lay back a little bit.
Frank, like so many people, I can recall coming to the Grand Canyon as a tourist and also as a golfer. I remember thinking to myself, wouldn't it be cool if we could put a golf course inside the Grand Canyon? Imagine, oh, right over there, that would be a really great par 5. Well, thanks to the designers at EA Sports, here we are. It's a reality.
It is. I used to go to the Grand Canyon with a camera. Now I go with my golf clubs.
Getting set for this next shot from the rough, what does the player need to be careful of here, Frank?
Well, this is where we're going to see exactly how good they are because, you know, that's not exactly the best lie, but it's sort of doable if you know what you're doing.
Okay, good shot on the dance floor.
Even par, currently.
Drops it, and he's at even par. Frank, the other thing is the intimidation factor here. I mean, everywhere you look, there is huge trouble.
You consider the first 3 holes, big tee shot across the canyon, long par 3, and you get nearly a 700-yard par 5.
Frank made this hole just a little bit harder hitting it into the rough.
I would say a lot harder.
Second shot coming out of the rough here. So missed the fairway, and now he's back where he needs to be.
Yeah, minimize the problems.
What was he thinking there? Look out, that ball's OB, and that'll be a one-shot penalty. Now playing the fifth because it was out of bounds on that previous shot.
This is definitely not going down the fairway.
That doesn't look good. I think it's going to be in the deep rough. How tough is this going to be now from the rough, Frank?
Oh, it's tough to say, Rich. I mean, so much is going to depend on that lie. I'm going to need a little bit of luck.
Ball sitting down here in the rough. He's digging in.
You know, this is not heading in the right direction.
No, it looks like it's going to be in the rough.
Well, that's a little absurd, that, Rich. That shot wasn't that hard, but it's come up well short.
Didn't appear committed through impact.
Well, it's a big green. He's managed to get it smack bang in the middle of it.
Bit of a struggle early on at 3 over. Here at the fourth, 345-yard par 4 with that extreme dogleg.
As the crow flies, Rich, it's probably only 260, 270 yards to the middle of the green. This is a really sharp 90-degree dogleg. So if you play it down the left side, that's virtually the distance you need to get to the green. 250, middle of fairway down that left side, and then as you can see, it shapes sharply back to the green. Well, you could be a little ambitious and try and flash it over that rock boulder, but really the luck of the bounce across that canyon area, you don't know what's going to happen. Logic would say hit it down the left, but this game not always logical.
Probably going to have to hit one more club here, Frank. A little bit uphill. Moving a little to the right of the flagstick. And it makes the green in regulation. Just needs to keep it steady here over the putt.
It's amazing. Doesn't matter how close it goes. It's an extra shot. One will definitely hurt.
Could use this. Putt for par. No fireworks, but not bad. That's par. Stays at 3 over. Well, Frank, there is a downhill shot, and then there is this at the par 3 fifth.
Big change in elevation. Drop shot par 3, you would normally say, but the length of the hole, around 230 yards makes that a little bit longer than a drop shot. Very, very daunting view. Little oasis surrounds the screen here, as well as those two bunkers. Long? Well, you don't want to be long, to state the obvious or the inevitable for some.
That one needs to hit a tree or something because it is headed out of bounds.
That's as bad a shot as I've seen for a long while.
Well, this is always one of the toughest moments in any round. You've made a mistake, you hit it OB, you're disappointed, but you have to regroup, you have to focus, and try to get this next one in play. So playing the third shot right now after having gone OB. Frank, this one's headed way right.
And rough trees, all sorts of problems on that right side.
Time to just pick up and move on to the next hole. Here at the par 5 6th, 625 yards.
You have to take a bite out of the rocky road here, up and over the railway line, and somehow underneath the arches. From there, you're heading, well, to an island green, you might say. There's no water. It's just surrounded by rock and canyon.
Frank, safe to say he is not having his best day out here today. What kind of advice do you give a player who's struggling?
Well, you just almost got to forget what's happened. I know that's easier said than done. Just start a clean slate. Just hit a good shot. Just find a fairway. Don't try and get too specific. There's enough out there. The greens are big enough. Just find a piece of green. Find a piece of fairway. Maybe knock a couple of putts in. And then let it add up in your direction. Second shot.